Pride of Higara. This is Captain Soban of the fleet, Farron Shah. Looks like you could use a hand. Attention all Sobani, pick your targets and engage.
Hello everyone. Hello. This is Captain Soban. Welcome aboard to Starship Enterprise for an exciting new series where we are going to be testing my RPG mod for Sins 2. I am super excited about this. I've been working like almost nonstop for a month just working on this mod, and that's one of the reasons why there hasn't really been anything on the channel, because I haven't had time. I've been just deep in roots and figuring out how the mod Sins 2 and trying to get this this mod working properly. So first thing I'm going to show you guys but I guess basically I should tell a little bit about the mod. So why did I decide to turn a space strategy game into an RPG? Well, easy question, or easy answer, I love RPGs. And one of my favorite mechanics in Warcraft 3 has always been the hero. I know a lot of people really hardcore strategists really don't like the hero mechanic, but the hero mechanic in Warcraft 3 was always my favorite, because I always loved taking that little warrior and taking him out to do some training, get him leveled up, fight harder mobs, get leveled up, and just keep doing that forever. And I often made mods of Warcraft 3 where you could go more higher than level 10. And since I've always enjoyed that too, I always love using our capital ships and leveling them up to really high levels where they can just handle the fleets by themselves. And that's the thing that's always been fascinating with me. And as I've been messing around with Sins 2 and doing some modding myself and looking into the coding and looking at how the level up system works, I got obsessed with it. So what I ended up doing was finding out how the creeps work, finding out how these guys work, and I kind of just made my own system where we can run around and fight other planets and get our guys leveled up and see just how powerful we can make them. So to kind of I guess introduce that a little bit more broadly, basically every planet in the game now has a certain amount of defenses. Those defenses are broken into 5 tiers. You have your tier 1s, which have just very basic ships. I think our first planet I scouted on our map is just a simple tier 1 with some light cobalt frigates and some shurikens. Tier 2s have additional defenses. Tier 3s and 4s are even more powerful. Tier 5s have capital ships defending them. And then tier 6, which are the highest ones I currently have in the game, are pirate bases who have enormously high amounts of defenses. They have defensive turrets, they have hangar defenses, they have super capitals that you have to fight off, and they also have hyperspace inhibitors on them, which means once you commit to that fight, you have to win. So because of that, I've been working on leveling up our capital ships. And I'm currently working on a project to try to get them leveled up all the way up to 100. There is a crazy modder that I don't actually know the name. I'll put him here in edit on the screen for you guys so you know him. And he went into the coding and made it to where capital ships, super capitals, titans, and even star bases can go well beyond 10. I think it maxes out at 254. He's a madman. And so that basically means that the coding is already there in front of us for other modders to mess around with it and set the ships the way we want to. And it's really amazing. I've been messing around with that to try to mess with settings for ours. But anyways, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I'll talk about it a little bit more when we actually start doing the game. So basically in front of us we have a bunch of capital ships. We have our super capitals here as well. We have our titans. We have our just a bunch of ships over here. Basically how we start our RPG is how you would start basically any type of dungeon run you would in Warcraft 3. You grab the ships you want. So for my fleet, for my run, we're gonna be having 6 ships. We're gonna be having a Radiance battleship, a Cull battleship, a Dunoff battlecruiser, a Akin battlecruiser, and a Sova carrier. That is going to be our group. Oh wait, I'm missing one. We also need the Mazra Dreadnought. And so we're going to grab all these guys, move them over here, turn them into a new fleet so that we have them all in our system. Oh, I was like, why isn't anything moving? That's because I had the game paused. So we're going to move all these guys out. Once we get some things established, I'll put the game up a little bit faster. I think, can I run at 75%? No. We can only run at 50% because we are playing on the Alpha Galaxy, which you guys might know from my previous series that I did not finish. The only reason why I did not finish that wasn't because of, I didn't want to finish it. It's because I was wanting to get into modding, and I couldn't mod because I was playing a really, really old version. So I had to update the version in order to start getting into modding, which means I had to, unfortunately, break that save. So, womp womp. I do have some more episodes I can bring up of that series, because I think I have like 6 or 7 more already pre-recorded. I'll bring those up like every once in a while for that series, but do know that unfortunately that Alpha series is no longer around, which is sad. Hopefully once I get more of the RPG mod going and eventually start working really hard on the hardcore mod, we'll do another playthrough using those mods, just like how I kind of did with my homeworld mod. But yeah, but right now this mod is still highly in development. It's not ready for prime time or anything like that, so hopefully soon it will be. Right now it's still really heavy in testing. Because after the pirate bases, I'm planning to turn some of the NPC factions into like basically Elite Four from Pokemon, where we're gonna have one of each faction be just a really powerful faction with like 7,500 supplies. I think they'll even have Titans and whatnot you have to fight, and then you have to eliminate them. And then there's gonna be one more NPC faction that has access to all the technology. Like they'll have Advent ships, they'll have Vasari ships, they'll have TEC ships, all the defenses, all the Titans and super weapons with 20,000 supply, as well as hyperspace inhibitors. And if you can get your fleet strong enough to beat that, basically think of him as, if you guys ever played like the old Pokemon versions, like Pokemon Gold way back in the day on the Game Boy Color and Game Boy, think of him as Ash or Red. I always thought of him as Ash, but think of him as Pokemon Red that you fight on Mount Silver, I believe. That's basically what his strength is going to be in this universe. It's just going to be on a god level, basically. And if you are able to use your fleet to win that, then congratulations, you beat the game. So yeah, but anyways, our fleet is far away. We got all of them set the way we want to. Let's go ahead and name our fleet. I already know exactly what I'm going to name this entire fleet. Enormo Prize. And for those of you that don't know where this reference is from, it's from Totally Spies. Enormo Prize. There was one episode where aliens came in and Alex was going to go investigate it, and she's like, "Cover me, I'm going in." And Clover just like looked at her and goes and responds like, "Cover you with what? Against the Starship Enormo Prize?" And just, I don't know why that line, it's so dumb, but it's stuck for me forever, even to this day when I heard it back in high school. So I named my capital ship after that phrase. And only really big Totally Spies fans will understand what that is. And if you don't know what Totally Spies is, it is a TV show about 3 teenage girls from Beverly Hills who live a double life of being international agents, as trying to fight bad guys and fight crime while still trying to manage their normal high school lives. So it's a really cool show. I recommend it if you're the type of person that likes sci-fi, romance, drama, or teen drama more specifically, and action. It's a cool show. And for you're going to be Celestia. For those of you that don't know who Celestia is, this is a inner voice that's inside my head, and she helps guide me on the path to righteousness. I don't exactly know why I'm like this. The only thing I can think of is I'm a Gemini, and Geminis are known to have secondary personalities, and I think this is my second personality, is a lesbian princess who is looking for love. I'm a very strange person. But anyways, the next one here is Princess Marie. And for those of you that don't know, this is the name of my girlfriend, at least her online name. I don't use her real name to protect her identity. But she's usually the Achaean battlecruiser, because I see this as kind of a luxury cruise liner, going through the galaxy, keeping people happy by being a cruise liner, helping the economy by trading, and using her inspiration to help everyone around her by using inspirational broadcast. And that's kind of how she is to me. She is a very big inspiration to me, and I'm really happy to have her in my life. And then she also goes around and helps expand territory with colonization efforts. So she is the Achaean battlecruiser. And next, the Dunov would be Metherium. And this is one of my friends that I stream with. Usually we stream on Twitch. Right now she's been kind of busy taking care of some friends and family business, so I haven't really been able to stream with her, but she's a really fun, interesting personality. And just like how the Dunov is a little bit different of a battle cruiser compared to the rest of the TUC ones, it kind of matches her personality by being a really different person. So next one is going to be this guy, who will be named Timotheus. This is a friend of mine from high school who, when we used to play Sins all the time, always loved using the strategy of fighter spamming, where if you didn't have enough fighters, you're not trying hard enough. So I see him being a carrier leader in my fleet. And then the last one is going to be this guy, whose name is going to be Squallstorm. And this is another friend of mine from high school who I used to play Sins with, and he always loved the ship. He just loved how the Mazra Dreadnought was such a powerhouse and just could really pack a punch against his enemies, so it makes sense that he'll be part of the group. So yeah, this is going to be our 6-player party. The normal prize, Celestia, or I should say the Cold Battleship, Radiance Battleship, Dunov Battlecruiser, the Mazra Dreadnought, Achaea... I keep saying Achaea Battlecruiser. Achaea is a furniture place. Achaean Battlecruiser and Soviet Carrier. I also keep almost calling him the Soviet Carrier. This is the reason why I have to name these guys. So anyways, before we get going, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to our research. So in the mod, we have an adjustment to military tier 1. It is free. I mean, it's supposed to be free, but it's for some reason 400 credits. Don't quite know why. It takes 30 seconds. I need to make that adjustment. But every capital ship, command ship, and Titan, and starbase, because I am modifying starbases. Oh shoot, I just realized. I forgot I was still set the stream mode because I was talking to my girlfriend earlier before I started recording, so I had my mic cranked up so she could hear me. But anyways, I have it set to this because every starbase in the game, just for the purpose of the RPG mod, will be able to jump, which means you can use them as a way to try to beat the RPG playthrough. So, yeah. So anyways, what this is going to do is it's going to make it to where all of our capital ships have 4 times their base health, and I made this as a standard for all of our capital ships. And for my hardcore mod, that's going to be the standard for every single unit, including the creeps we will be fighting. They'll have 4 times the health as well. So let's wait for a moment for that research to go through, and then we'll take a look at our little group, having that all on. And in the meantime, so that we can actually move some stuff around, since since we have a lot of structures here, we're gonna go ahead and just blow all this stuff up. It's all fine, because like in the old RPGs, once you decide what kind of fleet you want, just blow everything up. Not only just to free the game resources, because you're not going to be using anything else. The only thing I'm going to be doing, I'm not even going to be using research. I'm not going to use research. I'm not going to use I'm not going to be using any items on my ships. It's strictly going to be levels and abilities.
Going down in a blaze of glory.
Time is
Blow
fleeting.
everything up.
Don't waste
Everything
my
must
time.
die.
Strategic operations standing by.
You may
Free all of the resources.
Initiated. We have no need for this any longer.
Comlink online.
Self-destruct initiated. We have no need for this any longer. Self-destruct initiated. We have no need for this any longer.
Oh god. Oh god.
We're going down!
You'll have to fight on without us. Get the passengers to the escape pods.
Everything blow up.
Self-destruct
We
initiated.
don't need
We
you.
have no need for this any longer.
I didn't think we could lose.
Well, you thought wrong.
Self-destruct initiated. We have no need for this any longer.
Don't waste my time.
Now, in the future, I'm gonna make it to where these things no longer spawn,
This any longer.
because I've redone a lot of things, including how much experience you get per death. So, yeah.
Our worst fears realized. We're going down.
Alrighty. And that'll make it to where we can go a little bit faster. I think I should be able to do it 0.75. It's still a little laggy, but it's fine. As we clear out the planets, it'll get a little bit faster. So we'll just have to run at a slow speed for now. But I've also for the AI, we don't have to worry about them taking over the galaxy. When I was making this mod, or when I was modifying a mod of this that was already ready, to kind of like make it to where how I wanted it to work. I was trying to modify it to make it to where the enemy only had like 1% health instead of like additional health, so that they'll make a fleet and just die instantly, and they'll just do that over and over and over. I accidentally made an empty empire that has nothing to it, so I just set the AI to that, and then they can't do anything, and I can launch the game without any interference from the other competitors. Because we do have one guy out there, but he does have a planet, but he has absolutely nothing to his name, so it's amazing. So yeah, we don't have to worry about the other AI taking over the galaxy. You can take as much time as you want. You can play any style you want. You can have any size fleet. I am designing this series, or designing this RPG to work well with 6 ships, but I've also redesigned super capitals and titans to be much more defensive. So a super capital is now about 2.5 the strength of 2.5 capital ships. A titan is now about the strength of 2.5 super capitals, or 6 capital ships. So you can do a run with just 1 titan, or you can do a run with 2 super capitals, which will be a little bit harder since they don't quite equal the same strength of 6 normal capital ships, but those are alternatives that you can do for the run. And for star bases, you probably can do a run with 1 star base and maybe 1 or 2 capital ships like escorting it, and then that'll probably be balanced. Anyways, our research is done. So as you can see, our ships now have a lot more hull, a lot more armor, and a lot more shields than what they did in the vanilla. And I'm going to quickly go over just a little bit of the shields and armor before we actually start, because I have completely redone all of these stats. I've also redone all of their abilities for every single one of these ships. So yeah, this first episode is going to probably a little bit information heavy. But hopefully we'll be able to get a little bit of fighting. But my goal for this series is to get this fleet up to level 12. Because right now, again, this is a testing series. I'm not going to be strong enough to take on the pirate bases, but hopefully we'll be strong enough to take on a tier 5 planet. We'll see. That's gonna be kind of iffy, especially since I gave the creeps the ability to use shields, so they are more powerful than what they would be in vanilla. And so yeah, it's gonna be interesting. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, Coal Battleship. We start out with 7,400 shields, 11,000 armor, and 16,000 hull with 700 antimatter. And our antimatter regeneration is 0.45. I designed this ship to be more of a endurance fighter, so he has a lot of survivability and a lot of antimatter to really last a long time in combat before he needs to either run away to get recharged, or his DPS starts dropping because he can't use all of his abilities because he's out of antimatter. And of course, his abilities is Experimental Beam, which has been completely reworked. It does 40 damage per second for 10 seconds with 500 pierce and takes 45 antimatter to run, but it has a cooldown of 50. That cooldown is very important because the vanilla version, I think, had a cooldown of 5 and an antimatter cost of 75. It was way too high. You could use this ability like 3 times and you're out of antimatter, and you can't use any other ability because you just drained it all. So this is still very, very draining on the antimatter amount, but it's a lot better than it was in vanilla. And of course, next we have Fusillade, which increases weapon reload of 3%. I should say increases attack speed by 3%. Increases your weapon tracking speed by 10%, making it easier to track fast-moving ships. I've also reworked all the ship speeds and stuff like that, which we'll go in a little bit more details later. It lasts for 45 seconds, has a cooldown of 90, and costs 60 antimatter. Next one is the Adaptive Force Field, which reduces all damage taken by 3% for 60 seconds for 2 minutes, and costs 85 antimatter. If you guys are wondering why these values are so low, that is because since these ships are able to scale up to 100, I made it to where the abilities can scale up to 100. So this will be able to upgrade 30 times. Same with Fusillade and same with Experimental Beam. So over time, they will get really powerful. But at level 1, they're going to be pretty darn weak. And I really do enjoy this because, I mean, to me, it's like these guys are like the pilots of these guys or the commanders of these guys are fresh out of the academy. They're level 1, no experience, so they shouldn't be able to use their abilities really, really effectively until they get a lot more experience under their belt. And then Finest Hour has been reworked as well. It has a cooldown of 10 minutes. I don't know why it says 11. For some reason, it always says 1 minute higher than what you'd set it to. No idea why. It's like that with every ability. So just keep in mind that's 10 minutes, not 11. Cool antimatter cost of 125. When activated, your ability cooldown goes down by 5%. Your antimatter regeneration is 1.2, added on to what it currently is. And hull and armor regeneration is 15 per second, and this lasts for 2.5 minutes or 150 seconds. So yeah, I did kind of like nerf this. I also took the splash damage off because it made no sense. This is supposed to be a defensive warship, so doing the splash damage just made it a little bit more aggressive than it's supposed to be, so I just took that off and set it to 0. So you'll still see the splash effect, it just doesn't do anything anymore. So this is probably one of my favorite abilities of all time, just because of the fact it heals the ship, and it's like you're pushing your crew to the limit, which is what it's supposed to be. So the engine's being overworked, so antimatter regeneration goes up. Repair crews are out there trying to keep the ship from dying, so the whole regeneration is going up, and ability cooldowns are going faster because everyone's just working really hard to get those abilities under control and keep the ship from basically dying in a desperate fight. But this will level up 10 times. It goes up once every 6 levels. And by the time your ability cooldown is 50%, I have designed its abilities to where when that's activated, your cooldown will be the same as duration, which means you can keep it on all the time. So all except for Experimental Beam, which will have a cooldown of 25 seconds and a duration of 10. That's still really, really fast. Not as fast as vanilla, but it's still really fast for what it is. So yeah, that's the normal prizes stuff. Next one, the normal prize in this group is the primary tank. I've set him up to where his hyperspace speed is a little bit faster than the rest of the ships. That way he always arrives first and he can start the battle. Because I found out from testing and from my buddy Nam, who plays this a lot, whatever ship arrives first is the one that gets the attention for the creeps. And so it's really important to get this right, especially when we get to higher tiers, because let's say we have a situation where suddenly Princess Maria arrives first at like a tier 5, and then she's not high defensive, so she's gonna die pretty quickly if the normal prize wasn't actually tanking. So, or if she like tanks when a normal prize is supposed to. So yeah, I modified his hyperspace jump to kind of fix that. And Celestia is going to be the secondary tank. She has 18,400 shields, 5,000 armor, and 8,760 hull. She also has 90 armor strength, and I forgot to say that for the coal battleship, which has 105.
You may speak.
She has 500 antimatter as well. I've also taken her fighter ability off because in my RPG mod, if you want any type of fighters, you're going to be getting that from the carrier. So as you can see, like her hull strength and armor strength compared to the coal battleship is much lower, but she has really, really powerful shields. She also has really fast armor regeneration, or shield regeneration compared to the coal battleship, but very, very slow hull and armor regen. Also, all of the TEC ships have very low shield, armor, and hull regenerations. So when they're really damaged, they're going to need a lot of downtime to recover. And we'll go more in details when we actually get in combat. Now, her abilities are detonate. I always want to say donate antimatter. It's detonate antimatter. And it has a 45-second cooldown, range of 9,000 meters, antimatter cost of 45, and it lasts for 10 seconds and removes 10 antimatter from the enemy and does 50% damage at 500 pierce. I probably should... No, that's actually detonating from the actual ship, so it should have a really high pierce. So this means it will do 100 antimatter damage, and it'll do 50 damage to the actual ship from the antimatter explosions. Now as her spell power goes up, which she gets from this ability, Energy Abrasive Armor, they'll do it even more. So as she gets attacked, well, actually I'll go in detail when I actually get to that ability. So the next one after that is Admesity, and this is one of her main tanking abilities. What Admesity does is it puts a debuff on the enemy, because it basically causes them to fear the ship, so they take additional damage from being feared, and they do additional damage or do less damage out because their crew is like worried and shocked, so they don't put out as much damage. Now, what was interesting about this ability, actually I'll say more about it and then I'll talk a little bit history of this ability. It has a cooldown of 60 seconds, it takes 60 antimatter to launch, has a range of 6,500 meters, and a duration of 45 seconds. What is interesting about this ability is that second damage where it says -2 with -0 on the spell power, it was flipped. This was positive. This meant that they will do more damage to you and you will do more damage to them. The bottom one was supposed to be negative because it's your tanking ability. It reduces the damage that you take by also keeping their attention on you. So I fixed that in my mod. And it was quite interesting when I found that out. But Energy Abrasive Armor is her third ability. Basically, this puts a sheet of armor on your ship. Every time the ship is attacked, it increases the spell power, weaponry, attack speed, and it stacks up to 8 times. I've kind of redid this, and it lasted for 15 seconds. I kind of did this to stack more. The previous version of this made it to where it only stacked 3 times, and then it just gave you more spell power and attack speed per stack instead of, or like it would give, I forget how, I think it was like 5% per stack, and it was like 10% and then 15%. For mine, it just, the stacks go up higher and the more you upgrade it. Also, don't pay too much attention where it says weapon reload -0%. That's because it's a 0.5%, and it doesn't actually put it in. I still need to go into the coding and fix that text so it actually pops up, but it reduces or increases attack speed by 0.5% per stack. So this first one, when the stacks are maxed, will give you 4% attack speed with 8 spell power, and spell power is used to make your abilities more powerful. And then her super ability, Cleansing Brilliance, has a cooldown of 10 minutes, range of 8,170 antimatter is how much it costs, and lasts for 10 seconds, so the beam goes on for 10 seconds instead of 4 or 5 like base was, with a radius of 1,800 for the secondary targets that it bounces off of. And the main one does 75 damage per second, so that's 750 seconds when the beam is lasting all the time, with 500 pierce, and then the target, the ones that get hit do 35 or take 35 damage, so that's 350 without spell power, and a pierce of 100, and because it's bouncing off of it, it's not gonna have as much pierce. So cool. And that is Celestia. I think this first episode is just gonna be us talking about our capital ships that we're gonna be using for this run, because there is a lot to talk about because I've adjusted all of these. All main abilities for all of these ships will be scaling up to 30. Their ultimate ability will be scaling up to 10, and this applies for all of them.
How can I help
All
you,
right,
Commander?
so next will be Metherium. So Metherium is basically our support ship. It has 6,600 shields, 8,600 armor, 17,400 hull, 600 antimatter, so it's a little bit below normal prize, but higher than Celestia, and has 80 armor strength. Now, his abilities, or her abilities, I should say, has energy transfer. Energy transfer has a 60-second cooldown, 6,000 range, costs 80 attack power. Nope, wrong game. Antimatter restores 2,000 shields on the primary target, and if you have empowered, which is her special ability, it adds a special effect onto all of her abilities, all of her primary abilities. It will hit 10 additional targets and give them 500 additional shields. Now, what was interesting about this ability in vanilla, it was broken. It had a 6-second cooldown with 75 antimatter cost, and the ship only had like 300 antimatter. That means you could use your shield ability for like 20 seconds and you're out of antimatter, waiting for it to recharge to use again. This ship lasts about, with my adjustments, you can use it since it only activates once every minute, like maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes of combat, at least at this level. As we level up, one of the things I forgot to say is we gain 10% antimatter when we level up. A very small amount of antimatter regen, like 0.015 per level. And we also gain 2% of our regeneration for shields, armor, and hull per level. But we gain 15% additional shields, armor, and hull, like total points. So you get a lot of survivability every time you level. Which means that further on, you're gonna have longer and longer battles. Which means more antimatter than you have to have in order to have those battles longer. In the hardcore game, there's going to be, of course, the antimatter upgrades that allow you to have higher capacity so you can last in longer battles. But in the RPG, you just might have to grind out a couple more levels to have more antimatter capacity or a little bit faster regen to get all this stuff done. Of course, you can also use items and research and whatnot, but for my playthrough, no research and no items. If I can't defeat if I can't wipe out the planet, then that means I need to grind out more levels and get a little bit more powerful, just like how you would on Pokemon. If you're using like a level 25 Pokemon to try to beat a level 30, if you can do that, that's awesome. If you can't, go out and grind out until like you get to level 26 or 27 and try again. That's how I've always done it. So that's kind of the same attitude I take with this game. Anyways, Metherium's second ability is the EMP charge. It has a cooldown of 60 seconds, a range of 8,000, antimatter cost of 65, does 500 shield damage, and 60 antimatter removed. When you activate overcharge, that shield damage goes up to 1,250 and removes 100 antimatter from the targets. And I say targets because this has when it hits the single target, it explodes around a bunch of other targets, so it'll do antimatter and shield damage to everything around it. And I made it to where creeps have shields, so this ability is going to be a little bit important when I need to do a little bit extra DPS. I haven't actually tested this ability yet either, so this is only a paper approved ability. So, and that was because I was testing with the creeps without shields on, And I realized like I need to increase their survivability to make things more difficult and to have the ability to use all of my abilities, including the ones that drain shields. So yeah, that's the EMP charge. And next is a magnetic singularity, which has a 90-second cooldown, 15,000 meter range, 50 antimatter is how much it costs. It reduces the movement speed of everything around the ship or around the singularity by 5%, and does 8% when you have the overcharge activated. This is all level 1, by the way. This will get better as you level it up. And it lasts for 60 seconds. Now, I have made a change to this compared to the vanilla version. This ability now affects missiles. I was quite surprised to find out that it would affect fighters, but it didn't affect missiles. That was a little bit puzzling. So missiles will slow down a little bit more when they get in range of this, which means since missiles in this game is a physical entity and can be shot down, it gives more time for your PDS systems to do the job they need to protect your ships, because missiles do a lot of damage in my mod. They do quite a bit of damage, so having a good PDS system is going to be very, very useful. Also, missiles grant EXP now. It's a very tiny amount, like depending on the size, it can be anywhere between 0.01 to like 0.2. So you have to stop a lot of missiles if you want to use that as a way to level up. But you do get rewarded for protecting your ships against harm. So that's cool. And overcharge, I got rid of the reduction to antimatter when it comes to activating this ability, because I gave that to the command fortress. I adjusted the command fortress coordinated attack ability to affect cruisers or to affect capital ships. So when it's activated, it reduces the antimatter cost of all capital ships around it so that they can fight longer in battle. And I didn't want to add that to this one because I felt like stacking both of those abilities would be a little bit overpowered. So I got rid of it, and in return I made it a little bit cheaper because all it does is just activate the special abilities or the secondary parts of the primary abilities. Yep, that is Mytherium or Dunov battlecruiser. And the next one is Squallstorm, the Mazra Dreadnought. The Mazra Dreadnought has 4,600 shields, 7,100 armor, and 15,000 hull, along with 90 antimatter, and, or not 90 antimatter, 90 armor strength, and 450 antimatter.
Need something
Now,
destroyed?
the thing about this ship is it's a siege ship, which means it is very powerful and it's meant for bombing planets. So I've kind of modified its abilities to be powerful, but not so overpowered. So Concussion Charge, which is the main ability this ship uses, has a 40-second cooldown, range of 1,200 meters, a cost of 60 antimatter, and does an area damage of 200 with a pierce of 50, which means this will be very useful against ships that don't have armor, and has a radius of 500 around it. So if ships are concentrated together, this ability will hit all of them. And it makes it to where it disables those targets for 10 seconds. And this is an ability that is very, very draining on the antimatter. Like from my testing, this ship usually runs out antimatter first because it's always using this ability if I have it activated. So that is one thing they're about to realize, that a lot of these abilities are very powerful, but they're also expensive. And Mazra Dreadnought has a small antimatter capacity compared to the rest, or at least compared to the ones that we've seen so far. So just have to keep that in mind. And then next is Precision Targeting, which has a duration of 60 seconds, cooldown of 2 minutes, range of 20,000, costs 50 antimatter, and increases damage by 3%. Now, I kind of modified this to be an ability that only targets one ship, because it's like a since it can target anything, at least I think anything like frigate and above, it's an ability where it increases the amount of damage that you do to your enemies. Now, in the description, it does say weakness and enemies near the target are identified, granting the Mazra's missile systems bonus damage versus them for a minor duration. That's actually false. I checked the coding. All this does is put a debuff on the enemy so that it takes additional damage. This affects everything. which gives the Mazra Dreadnought a really big advantage when it comes to fighting ships that are heavily armored, like capital ships, super capitals, and titans, and buffing up the rest of the fleet so they do more damage. This is one of the reasons why I gave it a long duration and a long cooldown, because it's supposed to be a single target ability for ships that, you know, need to be hammered down quickly before they really hurt the fleet. So this is really cool. This is a really cool ability, and I like this. I like the ship a lot better since I've been reading the coding and figuring all this stuff out. And then of course we have Raised Planet, which has a 25-second cooldown, costs 35 antimatter, a range of 5,000, and it does 150 bombing damage and bombards does 10 bombing volleys. Those volleys also have a 2-second execution time, which means this bombardment will go on for 20 seconds and has a 25-second cooldown. So as long as it's going to be quite expensive on the antimatter, but as long as you have enough antimatter, you can really like kill a planet quickly with this ability, because this ability also gets quite powerful as you get a higher level. In hardcore, I am planning to redo how planets like health and population and everything works. So this might be this might get some adjustments as we do that. But for the RPG mod, this is perfectly fine because you're probably not going to use this ability anyways. The only time you're actually going to use this is if you actually win a pirate base and you're trying to bomb the heck out of the pirate base so it stops building things. Now, for the Dreadnought's super ability, the Missile Barrage, this has also been reworked. Has a cooldown of 10 minutes, costs 165 antimatter, and has a range of 20,000. But each missile does 75 damage, has a pierce of 200, so it's more designed for like frigates and cruisers, not really designed for focusing on capital ships, but it has 30 volleys with 30 targets that it fights. Now, it will still do a decent amount of damage. 30 times 75 is like 2,250. That's quite a bit of damage, and every time I use this, if all the missiles hit, they will normally take down like the armor and a little bit of the hull of cruisers. I haven't tried this since I added shields to the main ships, but it's a powerful ability. And also, they're missiles, which means they can be shot down. So that is one big weakness of this ability. Is you can't really use this against a fleet that is very PDS focused. Point defense has a bunch of point defense systems because they'll just shoot down the missiles. I've also made it to where the missiles have a little bit slower launch time. I think it launches a missile like once every 1.5 seconds. So, and before I think it was like 0.5, which is why there were so many missiles. Now it's a little bit more reasonable. But yeah, that's the Dreadnought. Next is Princess Marie, which of the entire fleet is my third favorite. Not just saying that because I see my girlfriend piloting this. It's just because I actually like her abilities. Her main ability she has is Colonize, which has a cooldown of 60 seconds and costs 150 antimatter. Oh wait, I should probably say the base stats first. So she has 6,200 shields, 4,300 armor, and 18,800 hull with 250 antimatter and 45 armor strength. She is not a battle brawler. She is not a cold battleship. I have modified her to be more like a cruise liner that has defensive weapons on it. So it's for escorting a fleet, going into protected territory to take more of normal territory, or by escorting a fleet into combat and then using abilities to help keep them alive. This is not a replacement for a cold battleship, at least not in my mod. Anyways, yeah, her ability is Colonization. It's a 60-second cooldown, costs 150 antimatter. She only has 250, so this is very expensive in the beginning, and has a range of 5,000. As you level up, antimatter costs will go down and cooldown will go down as well. So it's easier to get planets quicker, and it's cheaper to do it too because Princess Marie becomes a little bit more efficient when it comes to preparing her crew or preparing the colonists aboard the ship to go to whatever they're supposed to be colonizing. So that's kind of how I balance that out. You're always only going to have one logistic level though, so that's not going to go up any higher than 1. Because again, I'm trying to scale this up to 30, so I would be, if I did this in vanilla, I would be able to go up to 5, and then you just wouldn't be able to do anything else, and it feels a little bit weird to have it like that. So I just have it to where it's just 1 all the way, and just gets cheaper to do as you invest more upgrade points into it. The next one is one of my favorite abilities in the game. I always call it inspirational broadcast, but it's called inspiring broadcast. Now, this has a 2-minute cooldown, costs 70 antimatter, lasts for 90 seconds, has a radius of 5,000, which gets bigger as you level it up, and has a weapon reload speed of 3 seconds. I don't know why I said 3 seconds, of 3%, or aka increases attack power of all ships around by 3%. And I mean all ships. I went into the coding and found out that this ability did not affect Strifecraft. I don't know why it doesn't affect Strifecraft. I would have figured that those Strifecraft would have radios and whatnot in them, so if Princess Marie did her inspirational broadcast to inspire all the people around her, I'm sure the fighters would hear it. So this now affects fighters and increases fighters and bombers' attack speed. And I kind of think of it as battle meditation from KOTOR. So it's a really cool ability, and I'm really happy that my girlfriend has this ability. And the next one after that is mobile trade transport, and all this does is just allow you to trade more in your empire to make more money. All I did was just make this go up from 1 to 30, and just goes up 1 every time you upgrade it. And then one of my favorite abilities, the peace ability, as I like to call it, armistice. I just call this the peace ability. This has a cooldown of 10 minutes, it costs 200 antimatter, and lasts for 2.5 minutes. And basically what this does is once you activate this, all units, yours and enemies, cannot attack each other. And for this playthrough, this is going to mean that that Princess Marie negotiates with the militia that we're fighting, tells them that, hey, this is stupid, let's stop fighting. And then as everyone is no longer fighting each other, then we use it to have our fleet make its escape and get our fleet to safety so they can get themselves repaired. For me, getting to level 6 to unlock this ability is a big milestone, because that means I can be a little bit more risky when it comes to higher tier planets, because I am not going to run away. In this playthrough, I am not going to run away once the fight starts. The only time I'll run away is if I activate this ability. So, yeah, really, really cool. So Princess Marie is very valuable because she increases the attack speed of everything around her. And she has the ability to call truce, which will allow us to rotate, to retreat, retreat to safety and get repaired. Now, the very last ship in our fleet is the Soviet carrier, and this one was quite fun to modify, especially because of her first ability, deploy missile battery. If you guys ever played Warcraft 3, I've always enjoyed the Archmage, because he can summon water elementals to aid him. That's what this reminds me of. This is like the water elementals of the Sins 2 universe that help the battle cruiser, or help the carrier, either by having more point defense systems, or the missile launcher to help kill its enemies. Anyways, deploy missile battery. Has a cooldown of 60 seconds and the range of 1,500. That's just where you deploy it. It builds instantly, blah blah blah, and it costs 45 antimatter, and has a cooldown of 270 seconds, or duration, I should say. Now, the reason I did that, this means if the Soviet battlecruiser or Soviet carrier lasts a long time, and in combat, it can slowly start deploying more and more and more missile batteries to increase its DPS to really help it kill its enemies. It's a really, really cool thing, and that's one of the things I always modded in Warcraft 3, because I always did the same thing with Archmage. If the battle was taking a long time, I'll just summon more and more water elementals to help kill my enemies and wipe the enemy out. So that's something you can do now. You can summon, I think, 4.5 missile batteries before it dies, so you can have a lot more DPS on the carrier if the battle lasts for a long time. And next after that, we have mass production, which costs 70 antimatter. It's a cooldown of 3 minutes and lasts for 2.5 minutes, I believe. No, 2 minutes. And all this does is increase ship build time, or decreases ship build time and orbital structure build time whenever it's assisting a planet that is currently under construction. So that's cool. We won't really be using this for this playthrough because we're not building anything. We're running around and killing pirates. So, and then you have the mobile Corvette factory. This starts out, I think I'm going to make this in the future, build Corvettes and frigates, because that just makes sense to me. I don't really use this much because I need more than just Corvettes for my fleet when I build an actual fleet. But basically, this starts out at increasing build time by 50%. But as you invest more and more points, that goes down more and more and more, all the way till I think I want to say like 80% decrease in shield build time or ship build time. So yeah, really cool. And then we have the rapid manufacturing, which is an ability that has a 10-minute cooldown. Lasts is 180 seconds, which is 3 minutes, I think. Nice. Did I make that different than the other ones? I did.
Standing
Oh,
by.
I need to change that in the future. That's supposed to be 2.5 minutes. It launches 24 strikecraft. Now, the reason why I set it to 24, because I also changed how fighters and corvettes work. Or how fighters and bombers work. So
Squad leader here.
fighters, as you can see,
Reading you loud and clear.
has a DPS of 1.7. I've reduced their DPS by 3 times because when I play the game, even in my my playthrough of the Alpha Galaxy, I always used fighters because I couldn't see the point of using bombers, because fighters could kill the enemy fighters, but and also do enough damage against capital ships to, you know, make a difference. And that was just because they did, I think it was 5 originally before my debuff. No, it was 3. And I think Light Cobalts did 9.5 DPS. So that means you could have 3 of these fighters. You could have the DPS equivalent of a combat frigate. And that means in a squadron of fighters, you would basically have 2 Light Cobalts on your side. And with 2 squadrons, you would have 4. 3 squadrons, you would have 6. So they just did so much damage that you didn't really need any other solutions. Now, with their nerf, they really are only good against fighters, which is what they should be. So I like them. I've also adjusted their hull points and armor points. They have 25 armor, 75 hull, and 5 armor strength to put them in a really, really low class. Bombers do a lot of DPS now. They do 12.5. I've modified them to where I think they do like 250 damage with their bombs, which is quite a bit. So yeah, they have 65 armor and 125 hull. I've also changed their speed to be 1,150, so they're a lot faster. So that gives them a little bit more survivability, as well as their buffs. So they feel good. They doing some practice before I started doing this series. The fighters and bombers usually have about the same amount of hull left, or hull or armor left at the end of the battle. So they seem to be pretty balanced, and I'm pretty happy about that. Also, their squadrons have been changed too. So fighters now come in squadrons of 8, bombers now come in squadrons of 5. So probably for my playthrough, I'm gonna have it to where I have 1 fighter, 1 bomber, 1 fighter, 1 bomber. I think that's gonna work pretty well. But anyways,
Go ahead, TACOM.
I hope you guys enjoyed this little introduction to the series. Now that we've gone through all of our ships and everything that they do and everything they're capable of, in the next episode, we're going to actually start exploring the map. And we're going to start actually fighting some battles and show off the enemy fleets and whatnot that we have to fight. So, and start getting ourselves up to level 12, because once I get to level 12, I can end this run and start scaling things up to 15 and do the same thing. And if you guys enjoy this series and you want to see that run too, you guys just let me know. But the main reason I'm doing these runs and doing these videos is so I have something actually up on the channel for you guys, because this is all I've been doing. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please leave a like. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. I'll check you guys out in the next video. Until then, this is Captain Soban signing out.
The Faker have arrived. Emergency hyperspace procedures initiated. The mothership